What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. We're going to get started here in just a moment. We'll give it another 30 seconds or so for people to jump on, and we'll get started with today's live stream. If you're just joining us, let us know where you're tuning in from. See, we have some people jumping on. Welcome, welcome. We're going to get started here in about 15 seconds. Let us know where you're tuning in from in the live chat. What's going on, Justin? Welcome to the stream. Happy Canada Day, eh? Same to you. I trust you had a good time with your family. Absolutely, I did. Hopefully you did as well. Pretty tired today. I was up late for the fireworks here in Edmonton. The fireworks start at 11 p.m. because it's like daylight until 11 p.m. It's awesome, but not so great at the same time because my daughter started daycare today. And yeah, I was up super early. I had to drop her off there and had a lot of work to do today. And just picked her up a couple hours ago. And needless to say, I am tired today. But we'll jump into a quick live stream. Tons of people jumping on here now. Couple dozen. Welcome, welcome everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We had a decent day in MJ land today. We had some green, so love to see it. But yeah, let's get things kicked off. Today is Wednesday. It's July 2nd. For those in Canada, like I say, hope you had a great Canada Day and had a great time and spent time with your friends and family. Like I said, I was up late watching the fireworks and pretty tired today. My daughter started daycare, and yeah, it's crazy how fast they grow up. But Tilray brands, in other news, the whole sector was booming today. We're just starting to see breadth in the market open up, right? A lot of people were wondering why MJ was up today. Well, the S&P 500's at all-time highs. We'll take a look at that. And then we also had the Russell and small cap stocks really starting to show some signs of life, I guess, because it's been brutal in MJ. We still got a long way to go, but we have a few bullish patterns that we broke out as well. We'll bring up the TLRY chart in just a moment. And we'll take a look at the technicals and the price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. But Tilray brands finally broke out today, jumps 20%. And like I said, we'll take a peek at the chart in just a moment. Before we do, make sure to smash the like. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And full disclosure, I do own Tilray in my portfolio, but do not buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. This is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You can also follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And my daughter, she had a big day today at daycare, like I said, so she's a little flustered today. Hopefully she's not too distracting in the background. Mom is currently tending to her and getting her ready for bed at some point soon. But we'll take a look at Tilray and the rest of the sector. So Tilray and Auxly were the darlings in the space today. We also have a Glass House, which was up about 13.5%. It was just at about $6 yesterday. That one's seeing some decent moves, but majority of the names today were Canadian LPs. Just take a look from, yeah, like it really starts with Avicana. Let me just go down here. I just noticed that. Yeah, look at that. High Tide, Avicana, YOLO, SNDL, Love, MJ, ACB, HMMJ, Cron, OGI, CGC, VFF, Glasshouse, Auxly, and Tilray. The only one in there is that's US is Glasshouse, so that's pretty notable. But yeah, obviously the Canadian names have been beaten down a lot, especially Tilray. But I mentioned this. We had multiple POW algo alerts that went off as well on Tilray. I'll just bring that up here real quickly. So if you haven't checked out the POW algo alerts, essentially, yeah, my daughter's really belting it out there in the background. Hopefully it's not too distracting. It's definitely making me lose my train of thought. But if you take a look at here at the algo alerts, so this is what happens when the alerts fire off. They automatically fire into the POW group private community, and they also get sent via email. So this same alert here for Tilray, micro overbought. We had the bullish triple thunder crossover, which is when the 10-week moving average, the price closes above that. We have a weekly MACD bull cross and a weekly stochastic bull cross. When those all three happen simultaneously, you get an alert directly in the POW group private community, and it also emails it out. But if you're not in the POW group community, you can get it via email. We have micro overbought conditions. There was tons of alerts actually that went off on Tilray, and yeah, now we're starting to understand why. We also had an inverse head and shoulders here on the 2-hour time frame. We had a target of 43 cents, and we hit that, and we just continued to bust out because, as I said in my previous video, we were looking at a falling wedge, and we are more than likely going to break out of that pattern at some point soon. We had the bear flag target of about 32 cents. We had that inverse head and shoulders, but like I said, we were breaking out, and we had that target of 32 cents. We hit 35, so we came, within a few pennies of that target. And then look at this falling wedge that was forming here. So what you do is you just take the measured move here from the falling wedge and then move it to where we broke out, and it says the target is, let me just see here, 53 cents. And we can adjust this here. So we could keep going. We were up slightly after hours. I think we hit like 49, 50 cents. Obviously 50 cents psychological, going to be a strong barrier to get above, but could we see $1 soon? It's very possible. On the daily time frame, we're not yet daily overbought. We're probably going to get a Tilray ultra overbought alert soon, which is when the 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily time frame are all overbought at the same time. You'll get an alert from the POW group, alerts from the POW algo. So keep an eye out for that, but at the moment we could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross here on the daily time frame as well, signaling more upside. But this is the bullish triple thunder crossover. So when we cross above the 10-week moving average, the stochastic cross bullish, and the MACD cross bullish, that's why that alert triggered and fired off. And in my opinion, with the S&P 500 just face melting at the moment, it's a weekly bull flag. And if we zoom out here to the weekly, we'll get our measured move. You can see here we held the 0.32 fib on the back test, and then we confirmed the weekly bull flag. You just take your measured move there from the low to the high, move it out, and I've been saying for many, many weeks now that the target on the S&P 500 is 656, and I had so many people like, oh, well, isn't the stuff in the Middle East making you want to sell? Absolutely not, right? I'm looking at the chart. There was absolutely no chart damage, and I don't sell based on news events that happen any given day or any given week, right? I just look at the charts, and pretty much my retirement account is 95% money market, which is just cash. And then I have my MJ longs. I'm not selling any MJ until I'm financially enticed to do so. I would never sell any, especially not down at these levels, right? I'm just going to continue to add. And in fact, I'm looking to take profits on my crypto soon. And I own a lot of crypto. I own a lot more crypto than I do MJ. So I'm going to be looking to rotate probably 10 or 20% of those profits into more beaten down MJ. I'm kind of hoping that MJ just kind of takes a little bit of a breather here and lets crypto do its thing, and then I can rotate into even more beaten down MJ. But we'll take it as it is. My bags are packed either way. But as you can see, the S&P 500 targeting 655. But yeah, the Russell. I'll just take a look at that here as well. So you can see that one's busting out hard as well, and looks like that one is a weekly bull flag, EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. So that's pretty much the main reason why. It's just market expansion opening up, and names like MJ that are super high risk are finally starting to get attractive again. But this one's looking at a weekly bull flag around 231. How's the rest of the broader market doing? QQQ is pretty strong today as well. Yeah, we had wasn't too bad, but yeah, it's a weekly bull flag as well. This one's a massive weekly bull flag actually. So if you go from the low to the high there, it just confirmed the weekly bull flag last week. Oops, get rid of that. And we'll get our measured move here real quick on QQQ. So it's pretty much just everything busting, right? Gold near all-time highs. And the DXY breaking down was a huge signal as well. So yeah, that one's targeting 620. But yeah, I think leading into the end of the year, like the Feds could cut rates at some point soon, maybe even next meeting, but probably going to be within the next meeting or two. The FOMC meeting, the Federal Reserve will probably cut rates. Powell already said that, and he might even be replaced with Scott Bessent or somebody else. We'll see what happens. But Powell said if it wasn't for tariffs, he would have already cut rates. But that's a drama fest that I don't really want to get into at the moment. But yeah, the market's just screaming bullish, folks. It's probably going to continue into the fall, and if you look at MJ and how it typically performs into the summer, usually you have a drop off in activity, sell in May and go away. That wasn't really the case this summer, but what continued to be the case was the fact that just MJ had a summer lull, and we have that seasonality effect. Typically, MJ stocks do really well into the fall, and we very well could see rescheduling at some point soon. You've got major celebrities calling on Trump to get it done, and I think they will, and then I think safer banking more than likely going to happen before the midterms, and they'll use that as low-hanging fruit. But we have the bullish triple thunder crossover. look at how far we have. Look at this runway until we just get back to the 50 weekly moving average. That's $1.10, and the 200-day moving average is there at $1. So we're back above the 50-day moving average. This is the first time since January of this year that we're back above the 50 and we closed above it, and we closed way above it. So we have 53 is the target, like I said, of the falling wedge breakout. 56, that makes sense because we have the 100-day moving average there as well. But get above 56 and we're pretty much smooth sailing all the way up to $1. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see us at $1 in a hurry. The world's finally waking up, right? The sector's finally waking up. Retail investors are finally starting to understand that Tilray isn't going anywhere. It's the first to get entry into the Italian market, right, through its international arm. So, they're going to dominate in Germany. They're dominating in Canada. They're already selling U.S. products in the U.S. under their hemp line, right? Their hemp-derived beverages. And they said they have gummies coming soon. They're selling, energy drinks and highball energy. They're selling Manitoba Harvest, their hemp business there, their wellness business. They're selling, not to mention alcohol. The only thing they're not selling is what I was going to say is tobacco, pretty much in the U.S., right? So they've got, all of big pharma, big alcohol. Who knows? Maybe big tobacco will come in and swoop them up. When I interviewed Irwin Simon, the CEO, he said he wouldn't be opposed to taking a deal with a big alcohol giant or tobacco giant, but it'd have to be creative and it'd have to make sense for investors. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, we have a lot of room until about $1. But again, next major level of resistance is going to be there at 56 cents. Get above that and we could easily be back up to 70, 80 cents in a hurry. But I won't be selling anytime soon. Just you wait. Within probably 6 months to a year, we're going to see major reform in the U.S. Like Irwin Simon said in my interview, he said they could be in the U.S. medical market within 60 to 90 days. They were able to sell MJ infused beverages in the U.S. They could be in that market within 2 to 3 months as well. And yeah, all the haters, all the non-believers, all the naysayers, they're going to realize that King Tilray, it's going to be, mark my words, top 5. Probably top 3, and good chance that it's the #1 MJ company globally when it's all said and done. Maybe they merge with like a Curaleaf or something like that in the blue chip phase, but I've never been more confident of anything in my life. And yeah, Tilray, like I said, I've said it many times on this. If Tilray goes bust, or if they go bankrupt or the share price goes to zero and never recovers, I will eat dirt on live. On a live stream, because that's how confident I am. But yeah, if you think that Tilray's going to have staying power, one thing that we typically do is we gravitate back towards these moving averages, and you can see here we get extended irrational exuberance to the upside. We come back down, test it as support, lost it, resistance, and we usually get extended to the downside and come back and test it as resistance. It's been acting as resistance for a long time, so we will expect it to act as resistance again until we can flip it back into support. But as of right now, like I said, a lot of runway just to get up to around that $1 mark, and it's probably going to happen in a hurry, especially with how bullish the market has been, and rate cuts potentially coming. And you have to think too, right? Like crypto legislation is happening in the US right now. You've got wars, trade wars. You got actual wars in the Middle East and conflicts. So it's just not a priority right now, but crypto legislation, the Genius Act, stablecoin legislation is going through. Then you're going to see the Market Structure Potential Clarity Act. Once they get crypto legislation, both those bills out of the way, guess what's more than likely going to be front and center stage? It's going to be MJ, in my opinion. And what other topic other than blockchain and crypto and AI is super popular among citizens, especially leading into the midterms in the U.S., right? It's MJ. MJ is probably more popular than crypto, right? It's something that people, it's not just magic internet money that doesn't, you can't touch it, or that people think that it's actually like a use case to it, right? And while I'm very bullish on crypto, I don't subscribe to that. It's undeniably popular, and there's not too many people. I would say probably like 90% of people understand. Like, even if they don't consume it, they think it should be legalized, right? So that's going to be the next low-hanging fruit. And in my opinion, once they finish crypto legislation, they're going to pivot over to MJ, and you're going to see the biggest bull market you've ever seen. You're not even going to be able to fathom how big it's going to be, right? Especially with how bullish the market is going to be continuing into the end of the year. Doesn't mean we can't have pullbacks along the way. It'll just be healthy. But yeah, things are heating up in a big way. We'll bring up the Tilray chart here. I just want to bring up the monthly chart because I've been saying this for a while now. I said next time we start the monthly bounce, look out, because we have no resistance all the way up until 215 on the monthly chart, essentially. Yeah, we had that one level there at 177 and then 182. So we bounced like 5 cents on a monthly candle, like whoop-de-doo, right? So it's all the way back in July of 2024, the last time we had a meaningful bounce on the monthly time frame. And bouncing just means you're breaking the high of the previous candle, because we went from 184 in June to a high of 215. So that was a notable bounce. But since then, it's just been a lower high every single candle. And we're finally starting the monthly bounce now. That's the first time in 1 year. So 11 months last month, and now it's been 12 months. So a full year without a monthly bounce. EMA 12 is sitting there at 94 cents. So like I said, I'm pretty confident we're going to be back up to around that 80 cent to $1 mark in no time. And they're looking to pause the reverse split as well. So if they regain compliance organically, we get rescheduling into the fall, safer banking into 2026 before the midterms. They have until September 21st to regain compliance and get their share price back above $1 for 10 consecutive days. But again, they could get a 6-month extension from September, right? So that's into 2026, folks, just like VFF just did. All right, we'll jump into the chat here. Just 1 second, folks. I got my Airbnb guests checking in. All right, sorry about that. My guest was checking in and had a couple of questions as well. I had to keep my phone. Normally I put it on silent, but I had to keep it. On until they checked in. Yeah, it's one of those guests too. It's like tried to have like the cleaners, and I was like, hey, like, can we get this done? He's like, can I check in at? Well, he initially wanted to check in at 10:30. I'm like, well, check out is 11, so no. And he's like, well, I need to check in by at least 2, and then I had it ready for 1:45, and yeah, he's just checking in at 6 p.m. It's like, my God, people. Yes, we've been waiting for this today. Happy Canada Day. Already been through that, but thank you very much. Same to you all day. You got, hope you're feeling better. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Justin, tuning in from Montreal. And we got Charlotte, NC in the house, Surrey, BC. We've got California. Hello from Toronto. I'm hoping you may talk a little bit about Auxly having a great week. Yeah, absolutely. That was a great day over for Auxly team as well. We mentioned that we're more than likely going to be heading up to around that 15 cent mark at some point soon. Really, we don't have any monthly resistance all the way up till 35 cents. So this is what happens when you're this beaten down. And as I said on the last Auxly update, this is the first ever monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. So you know it's going to be a great one. But yeah, so many people saying there's no opportunities in MJ. This thing's up over 10x. Same with Glasshouse as well. That one off the low of November of 2022. That one's still up around 282%. But yeah, from the low to the high there of 2024, it was up almost 500%. But yeah, Auxly, can't say enough good things about Auxly. Super bullish. They're almost monthly overbought, folks. That's crazy. Tilray is still monthly, like pretty much close to monthly oversold. CGC's right down there in the dumps as well. Oversold. St. Pete Beach, Florida. That's awesome. We got Penticton, BC in the house. I've been to Penticton. I was there a couple of years ago. Did the lazy river. It was super fun. Yes, we enjoyed it. Thanks for asking. You bet, Justin. Thank you very much for joining the live stream as well. Tired is the normal with kids. You'll get the hang of it after Supper coffee helps. Yeah. I got a couple of energy drinks, and yeah, I'm no stranger to coffee. I usually have 2 or 3 cups in the morning, and then yeah, been into the energy drinks, but yeah, it definitely didn't help staying up too late last night. We got Jam Losi. How you doing, my friend? Go Tilray. SNDL needs to get their... Yeah, that's bad. That one actually hit ultra oversold today. Or was it yesterday? Yeah, I think it might have been yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday on that huge wick down. So it did $1.15. So what happened there, right, is they're reviewing their listing, their current listings. So basically, how you perceive that is they might potentially delist from the NASDAQ to enter the US. They said they're exploring. Nothing's set in stone yet. But I think that's creating a lot of uncertainty. And they actually held up kind of, well, not super well, but yeah, if you look at the high of February 2021, similar to, to most names, it's down 97%. So some names are down like 98%. So it's only down 97. So, but this one will see a massive move, right? Just like Oxley, the monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross happening, first time in history. Look at SNDL. That could happen over the next few months as well. But yeah, that one's going to be a laggard for sure, I would say. Tilray move is really off the all-time lows. The real move is still not here yet. Yeah, exactly. I think, once we get back up to like 60 cents, we're going to see things kick into high gear big time, and we should be at $1 in a hurry. What would need to happen for MSOs to uplist? Well, there could be some sort of safe harbor. There could be some sort of language built into bills. But ultimately, it's up to the NASDAQ and the exchanges. Like, I don't think there's anything really preventing them from doing that. But yeah, it's I'm not a lawyer either, but I'm pretty sure it's just like they could do it if they wanted to. But yeah, if there's some sort of, kind of verbiage made into a bill or some sort of safe harbor, that could say that they could uplist. But, obviously, if they descheduled it, that would be, and Congress could deschedule it, right? Rescheduling wouldn't. But yeah, descheduling would get us there. Rescheduling and safer banking than uplisting MSOs. Yeah, I think so too. I think they're going to want to get the big, Wall Street banks, the JP Morgans, the Goldman Stanleys, the, Goldman Sachs, get them all positioned, and then they're going to allow full-blown descheduling. You can't even comment on Tilray posts, only a select few. Can't comment on Tilray posts. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like on X, or I'm not sure. We got Plattsburgh, New York. Very nice. Awesome. Welcome. With Irwin being the chairman and CEO, it seems like it's literally impossible to get fired. Yeah, well, there's a lot of, like I said, most MJ companies are down 80-90%. So by that logic, should we fire every single CEO in the MJ space? They pretty much have across most of names, but it doesn't matter if you're profitable, unprofitable. A lot of MJ stocks are down 80-90% from their February 2021 highs or all-time highs, right? So I think Tilray deserves a little bit of slack because, a lot of other companies are going bankrupt or don't even exist anymore. Like, look at MedMen, right? Their fate was a lot better than MedMen, even though they have the IP for MedMen. They can eventually use that in the U.S. once federally permissible, right? So it wasn't all for nothing. Obviously, it wasn't a great investment, but hey, Tilray could have been like MedMen and not exist anymore, but they do, and they're growing, and like they just got their first entry. They were the first to enter Italy, right? So, in my opinion, yeah, there's a lot. It could have been a lot worse, and I don't know. There's a lot that you can not like or like with regards to CEOs and Irwin. Nobody's perfect, but you kind of have to again throw them a bone a little bit. I mean, it's kind of on the U.S., right? Like, we've been legal in Canada for almost 7 years. If you look back when Canada legalized, who in their right mind would have thought it would have been another 7 years for the U.S. to get their shit together, right? The U.S. still is still federally illegal. It's on the same list as heroin. Like it's so dumb. Like, but obviously, big alcohol, big pharma, big tobacco is lobbying against it, and that's the reason why it's still illegal today, is because they're trying to get their paws all over it. And the longer they prolong it, the more these companies drop like flies, and these big corporations are able to come in and buy them for pennies on the dollar, right? But also it's about them getting positions so that they can not be disrupted and take advantage of it. Like, you get the alcohol industry regular kind of lobbying for hemp drinks now, right? They're like, no, don't get rid of those, right? We're making money on those now. So again, you're starting to see a complete paradigm shift here now. Been holding Tillray for a long time. Yeah, same here. So you're saying I should get some more? Yeah, not telling you to buy, sell, or hold, but I can't see why you wouldn't want to buy at these price levels if you're looking to add. Bought an additional 10K Tilray today at 48 cents. Very nice. Can't go wrong with that. Solid price. Tilray also moving seasonally with alcohol. Yep, for sure. U.S. and Canada politics is the problem, not the MJ companies, says Jam. Yeah, exactly. You're thinking pretty much the exact same wavelength as me then. Canada excise tax is a problem, not Irwin. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's so many things, right? It's not just, like, what other CEO has to deal with this, right? Nothing. What other sector has to deal with this? There's no other sector, right? But again, retail investors, they come into MJ and they don't have any concept of financial markets, right? They just come in because they love and it's awesome, right? It's turning, passionate people into investors and starting to study financial markets, and finance is basically what makes the world go around. So it's great from that perspective, but also people just aren't aware of how finance works, right? And how stock market works. And once you realize how things really work, it's okay, this is manipulation and corruption, right, at the highest level. And the fact that I don't know, if I was in the US, I'd be calling my representatives nonstop. We basically just need to get everybody in the US to get their friends and family and acquaintance and everybody and yourself all ringing the phones of these elected officials and tell them to smarten the F up, because it's just ridiculous at this point. It's almost 7 years in Canada, almost a whole decade we've been legal at the federal level in Canada, and the US still treats it like heroin. You can't even buy with a credit card. It's what are you doing? It's pretty insane. Kind of funny at the same time. It's okay, if it's that messed up, yeah, we'll see though. I think major change is coming, and everybody thinks it's going to take forever. I don't think it's going to take that long, especially rescheduling. Do you think they should just readjust his compensation package? I think it's crazy that he's paid $10 million a year, and with the company doing so poorly. Keep in mind that it's all a lot of it's stock-based compensation, and the stock is down, so therefore his stock compensation is down, right? He's not paid nearly, I think it's $1 million or something like that, or $2 million, I think, close to $1 million, I'm pretty sure, in cash. Most of it's stock-based compensation, and he said he's never sold a share, meaning that if the stock's down 90%, his shares are down 90% too, right? So he probably wants the stock to be, at all-time highs as well, because a lot of his compensation is in stock, right? The majority of it. So, yeah, again, this is why you have to kind of understand financial markets, right? And not just look at the total value, understand how much is actually paid to him as a salary, and how much he's getting paid in bonuses and stock-based compensation. I can keep going, says Jan. Yeah, we all can. It's like kicking a dead horse at this point, though. Thoughts on VFF with Texas potential? Yeah, VFF, I think they're going to do well. I was never really sold on their business model with the whole vegetable aspect, but since they're getting into that and divesting that and focusing on MJ, I think, yeah, I own a small position. It's not a huge position in my portfolio, but I'm going to be looking to add more to that position. I think VFF I think more than likely they'll probably merge with somebody or acquire somebody, but I still think there's a lot of consolidation needed in Canada and even now in the US, right? We don't need thousands and thousands of producers. there's only going to be a couple dozen big ones, right? Or maybe even a dozen, right? So there's going to be so much consolidation at some point and mega mergers, acquisitions in the blue chip phase, but you're not going to see the blue chip phase like the Amazons and the Apples of the MJ space, right? You're not going to know who's going to be like the real blue chips until the US legalizes. And after they legalize at the federal level, it's probably going to take 5 years at least, maybe 10, before we find out who the blue chips are from there, right? Because if the biggest economy in the world, the biggest capital market in the world isn't legal yet, and once it goes legal, well, it's going to take some time for that for the market, level playing field to level out, right? And to find out who the real winners are. So just like the .com days, right? Pets.com didn't stand the test of time, and a lot of the companies in the early days of the tech boom didn't make it, right? And it was many, many years later that the real winners and blue chip companies emerged. And you have to keep in mind that MJ is way more manipulated. And Apple almost went bankrupt if it wasn't for Microsoft investing about $150 million back in 1997. And they weren't selling federally illegal drugs that are on the same list as heroin, right? So they did that just selling computers. Okay. So again, we kind of need to cut these companies some slack. And blame your officials, right? Blame the corrupt politicians and they're bought and paid for by big pharma, alcohol, tobacco, you name it. So, thank you, Rod. You bet. All right, thanks, Jam. Thanks, Dan. Thanks everybody else. I think I got everybody. I got Ron, Dynamic. Yeah, I think we went through all of those. Thanks, Bill. You got Daydream. You got Bridgerton in the house. Justin. All right, thanks everybody. And we've still got close to 100 people here after 30 minutes. So it was a long time coming. That was a brutal drawdown on Tilray. It was just like basically down and out and asleep. So it was nice to see it break out of that falling wedge pattern. And I think leading into the fall, once we get crypto legislation out of the way, I think they're going to pivot hard over to MJ. All right, have a great night, everybody. It's Rod with POW Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth. Always a pleasure coming on, and we'll see you again on the next one.